Hello and welcome. I'm Amanda Sarator, and this is Lead Like You Mean It. On my channel, I'll share a passage from my book, practical tools for daily leadership, and micro acts of courage you can carry with you into your day. Think of this as your pause, a moment to settle, to listen, and to return to yourself. Lead like you mean it. Here's the hard truth. Not everyone is allowed to perform power the same way. A white man who raises his voice is assertive. A black woman who does the same is angry. A man who cries in a meeting is weak. A woman who cries is emotional. These double standards aren't accidents. They're how systems of power protect themselves. They reward some performances and punish others, teaching us early that power isn't neutral, it's conditional. If you carry identities historically excluded from power, the pressure to perform it correctly is even greater. You edit yourself, shrink yourself, contort yourself, not because you're weak, but because you're surviving. That's why power rooting matters. It bypasses the external script and returns you to your own authority. It reminds you, my worth isn't up for negotiation. It's already grounded. Power is not a spotlight. It roots in the ground. Power is not about volume. It's about gravity. Power is not the storm that forces attention. It's the mountain that stays unmoved. So what does rooted power look like in practice? In a meeting, it's saying no without apology when a request doesn't align. In a conflict, it's admitting uncertainty without collapsing into self-doubt. In leadership, it's refusing to overfunction for a system that thrives on your exhaustion. At home, it's letting your children see you as both strong and vulnerable, so they learn that power doesn't mean perfection. One executive I worked with began experimenting with power rooting before giving feedback to her team. She noticed that when her feet were firmly planted and her breath steady, her words carried more weight. Not because she raised her voice, but because her voice resonated with grounded clarity. We resist rooted power because proving feels safer. If I can prove I'm prepared, no one will catch me off guard. If I can prove I'm competent, no one will question my value. If I can prove I'm calm, no one will see how deeply I'm struggling. But proving is exhausting. It makes power a performance to be maintained, not a truth to be lived. Rooted power is riskier, but freer. It does not guarantee the room will agree with you, but it guarantees you won't abandon yourself in the process. If the ache had a script, it would sound like this. Don't let them see the cracks. Keep holding it together. Perform strength until you believe it yourself. Fake it until you make it. Power rooting interrupts that script. It anchors you in the truth. You don't have to perform strength to be strong. You don't have to prove worth to be worthy. You are already grounded. You are already enough. Real power doesn't demand that you take up space at all cost. It invites you to inhabit the space you already occupy, fully, unapologetically, and without performance. Purpose is the why that steadies you when performance whispers do more. Without it, leadership becomes an endless treadmill, running faster, producing more, proving constantly, and still feeling hollow when the finish line moves again. At the end of each day, ask, did I choose urgency or did I choose what truly matters? It sounds deceptively simple, but this one question can reveal whether you're building a life from alignment or from compulsion. Urgency is everywhere. Let purpose be your filter. It's the red dots on your inbox, the pings on your phone, the unspoken pressure to respond instantly. Urgency whispers, if I don't handle this now, I'll fall behind. But purpose asks a different question. What actually matters here? What deserves my energy? The purpose filter doesn't erase deadlines or demands. It reorders them. It reminds you that your life is more than other people's calendars. I remember a season when I said yes to nearly everything that landed on my desk. New committees, extra projects, speaking engagements. On paper, it looked impressive. Colleagues praised my commitment and dedication. Inside, I was unraveling. My days blurred into late nights. My family got fragments of me, not my full presence. My team saw efficiency, but not vitality. I wasn't leading from purpose. I was hustling for worth. It took one particularly exhausting week, 7 days of back-to-back obligations, for me to finally ask, why am I saying yes to all this? The honest answer was painful, because I thought my yes was the only proof of my value. That realization shifted everything. Purpose reminded me that my yes means nothing if it cost me myself. Saying yes to everything wasn't leadership, it was erosion. We are handed myths about purpose that make it heavy instead of freeing. Purpose is legacy. You must leave behind something monumental to prove your life mattered. Purpose is sacrifice. The less you hold for yourself, the more noble you are. Purpose is shoulds. You should be grateful. You should say yes. You should always put others first. Each myth sounds noble, but together they create a cage. Purpose becomes obligation instead of aliveness. The purpose filter is how you dismantle those myths in real time. Purpose is not a contract you must fulfill. It's a compass that you return to again and again. Purpose is not a cage of shoulds. It's the breath of freedom when you choose truth and you choose yourself. Purpose is not legacy carved in stone. It's the pulse in your chest reminding you you're alive right now in this moment. And purpose shows up in the smallest choices. Declining a meeting because it doesn't align with your role. Saying yes to a project because it energizes you, even if it doesn't look strategic on paper. Protecting your lunch break because your body's vitality matters as much as your output. Reframing success from did I impress them to was I aligned with what matters. One leader I worked with began using the purpose filter with her team. At the end of each week, they answered together, what did we chase because it was urgent? What did we protect because it was meaningful? Over time, their culture shifted. Productivity did not decline, it sharpened, energy rose, clarity grew, and they really began focusing their time on things that mattered, and the entire culture changed, and they were working on things that had an impact and was meaningful to the team and to the organization. Urgency culture is fueled by systems that profit from your exhaustion. Capitalism rewards more hours, more output, more yeses. Patriarchy conditions women to say yes until they collapse. Racialized systems demand overperformance just to grant access. When you operate from urgency, you feed those systems. When you filter through purpose, you disrupt them. You refuse to measure your worth by depletion. The purpose filter is not just personal clarity, it's cultural resistance. We resist purpose because it feels indulgent. It feels indulgent. Who am I to say no? Who am I to choose joy? Who am I to choose me? Who am I to protect my time when others are sacrificing and working so much? But here's the truth. Choosing purpose isn't selfish. It's sustainable. It ensures that your leadership is fueled by alignment and not resentment. If the egg had a calendar, it would look like this. Every box filled, every hour consumed, every yes reflexive. The purpose filter interrupts that calendar. It asks, is this aligned or is this just noise? And in that pause, the egg softens. Because you've remembered that your life isn't a list to conquer, it's a compass to follow. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe. I've dropped a link in the comments to my site. There you can find earlier readings from my book, a Micro Acts of Courage course, and other writings I've shared. Hope to see you back again soon, and until then, be kind to yourself and to others.